The winds of New England, WNDS Dairy. WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Oh, look at this. Look at that. He got it. Spread eagle for a spin.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is sponsored in part by Rockingham Toyota, Dodge, Nissan.
Looks good. Looks good. It's going to go. It's going to go.
Candlepin Stars and Strikes is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to Park Place Lanes here in Windham, New Hampshire, and week number 2 of our final regular season series here on Stars and Strikes. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy. Last week, easy to categorize what happened. Jim Grigaitis off to a great start, 439, and now the question is, can he keep it going?
Well, he wants to save some of that from last week, but we won't let him do that. He has to start fresh today, and he's got a tough one in Tom Morgan.
All right, let's meet our two bowlers. First of all, our number 5 seed coming off that impressive win last week from Brockton, Massachusetts, Jim Grigaitis.
Okay, Jim averaging 125, high triple 466, and his roll-off score 668.
So he was only 27 pins off his personal high triple here last week with that 439, and a very, very impressive win, beating Rich Hallberg, who also bowled well at 399. Jim tries for 2 wins in a row today, and he will try against the real veteran of this group. We've got a lot of guys who are making their first appearance here on Stars and Strikes during this ladder, but here's the guy that's the veteran of the group from Revere, Massachusetts, our number 3 seed, Tom Morgan.
Okay, Tom comes in averaging 128, high triple 490, his roll-off score 687.
We talked a little bit about this last week. It has been quite some time since we've had somebody below our number 1 or 2 seed qualify for the Tournament of Champions. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But Jim Grigaitis off a very impressive performance last week, trying to make it 2 in a row today against Tom Morgan. Don't forget our bonus ball contest. That comes up at the end of the show. $140 available in that. We hope we have your postcard entry so that you can get your share of the cash. We'll be back to get this 3-game match started at Park Place Lanes right after this timeout. Don't go away. Last week, our number 5 seed, Jim Grigaitis, breaking that tie between Jim and Rich Hallberg. They had battled for 5 games in the roll-off to come up tied at 668. Jim was the ultimate winner last week with his 439, so today he will try and make it 2 in a row against our number 3 seed, Tom Morgan. The winner of this match gets 2nd seeded Don Richmond next week, and our number 1 seed, George McAllister, will join us in 2 weeks. Jim Grigaitis had 18 marks, 14 spares, and 4 strikes on the way to that 439 a week ago. And there's a spare to start this week.
The 1, 2, and 7, no problem there for Jim.
Oh, big first ball here. And although it's the 7 and the 8, there are certainly possibilities here.
Lots of wood down there in front of both the 7 and the 8.
Watch out. Just stayed on the lane. Almost let that one slip off the lane a little too soon. Just caught that outside piece of wood. So a quick start again for Jim Grigaitis, and now Tom Morgan.
One, 5, and 9, right through the middle for Tom Morgan.
Tom is our number 3 seed in this group, as you just saw. Jim Grigaitis, our number 5 seed. The last time someone even as low as a number 3 seed advanced to the Tournament of Champions was just about a year ago at this time, when Chris Sargent won 3 matches as the number 3 seed, and Chris Sargent wound up being our Tournament of Champions titleist last year. So it can be done. Chris had the good qualifying score and then won his match to win the title last year. Actually, he was the number 2 seed going into the tournament, won his 2 matches to get the title. But he began in his original series as a number 3 seed. Now, the last time we had a number 5 seed get to the Tournament of Champions was December 1994 when Paul Berger did it. And if you missed it, we talked about it a little bit last week because of the 5 guys in this field and Paul Berger not being in the field for the first time in the 8-year history of our Tournament of Champions. Paul Berger will not be with us.
Just a 5 fill on Jim's mark.
The 5 guys that have all qualified for this year's Tournament of Champions all were number 1 or 2 seeds this year coming in.
It's a tough road to win those 3 or 4 matches. People know that we do that taping all in one day, so it's pretty tough. Fresh bowler coming at you all the time.
2 open frames here for Jim Grigaitis. And the 9 bucks.
51 through 4.
So we will not have Paul Berger, and we will not have our defending champion, Chris Sargent, in the field this year for the Tournament of Champions. Great break on that ball for Tom, missing the head pin.
Leaves just the 6 pin for the spare.
And he's got it for his first mark. This is Tom's 18th appearance in singles competition here on Stars and Strikes. And he gets another little mini break there.
Missing the head pin again, but leaves himself just the 1, the 9, and the 10, and a piece of wood now nestled in against the 9 and the 10. Well, just in front of the 9 and 10.
Possibilities here, though.
Catches the head pin. He's got a shot at making it.
Yes, into the corner for 2 in a row. Fine shot. Jim Grigaitis right back in the pocket, and he'll have a spare leave on the 6-10. Nope.
Oh! Don't say no.
Is it possible that Jim has brought some of that luck from last week with him?
Wow.
He had 1 or 2 balls that did the same kind of thing last week.
Now let's see if he can really cash in on that. That was a huge break. Well, missing the head pin, gets 7. Nothing coming back. 1, 2, and 9 left. And yes. Well, both bowlers cashing in on some early breaks this first game of the match. You see the replay on the 1, 2, and 9. Tom Morgan working on a pair of spares now in the 3rd and 4th.
Oh, great recovery by Tom. He was not happy with that first ball.
No, he's missed the head pin with the first ball. I think every box, really. So he's not happy with himself, especially the first ball.
Trails by just 14, but opposite of mark here in the 6th. Oh, there is a good correction, leaving the 10 pin. in for the spare.
Well, whatever he said to himself worked in that box.
Jim Grigaitis misses the head pin and carries just 5 on his fill.
4 horsemen to the right plus the 7 pin.
We have 4 Massachusetts bowlers in our group of 5 in this series. Last week we had an all South Shore duel between Jim of Brockton and Rich Hallberg from Quincy. Now we've got a South Shore North Shore battle today with Tom Morgan here from Revere. Missing the head pin again, but not a bad result.
1, 2, and 10. Piece of wood behind the 2 pin. Actually 2 pieces now.
Got it.
Very nicely done on the 1, 2, and 10. His 5th mark, all spares in this first game. Here's the replay of that one. Wood certainly helped him with the 10.
Now Tom Morgan working on a spare. Kicks out the 7 pin, but the 4 is still there.
3, 6, 10 in the right with that 4 piece of wood there that could kick forward for the 4 pin. Yes, it did, but left the 10.
No, $9. So the lead is 13 for Jim Grigaitis. Well, Tom would probably be better served if that wood stays on the plate somewhere, but depends where.
5, 6, 10, piece of wood half in the channel and the other half covering the 6, 10. But I think you're right. I think he may have to play that other piece of wood just to the left of the 5 pin.
You see what Tom is looking at as the wood finally stops. He will play it, and not enough. So it's a $10, and Jim Grigaitis will increase his lead on the fill. Here's what happened.
And the wood started to come across. That's what he was trying to do. But Jim working on the spare. And he misfires to the left, just 4. So the highest we've had 8 marks between the 2 bowls. The highest fill has been 8.
Yeah, and Jim had big fills all last week in his marks. Getting off to a slow start today, though. He's had 2 5s and a 4.
So you can trace this right back to the first ball. Both bowlers are not hitting that head pin with that first ball consistently enough.
$9. Last week, Jim went 168, 133, 138 for a 3-game total 439. Again off the head pin. And this time the half Worcester. Now a full one.
Yikes. He's 115 through 9. He's 119 now with 1 more ball to come.
Look out.
Oh.
It's a 4-box.
So just 119 with 5 spares. It's kind of an ugly first game for both bowlers, really.
Mm-hmm.
But what that 4-box does is give Tom Morgan a chance to get a lot closer than he was. Just with 2 marks, he could take the lead.
There's one. spare number 4 for Tom Morgan. Almost threw that one pin over into the next lane. Oh, big fill this time for Tom.
This for the lead in the match, possibly anyways. It will be within 1 pin.
He's got to decide whether you're going to hit the wood or the pin. He goes right after the pin. That's the 3rd single pin that Tom has converted for a spare in this game. 5 spares for each bowler. No strikes yet. And another big fill, 8 for 126. So Tom Morgan comes from behind to grab a lead after game 1, 126 to 119 over Jim Grigaitis. We'll be back to Park Place Lanes in a minute. We've had only 1 winner in the bonus ball contest all year. Do you realize that? 1 winner this entire season.
I didn't, but thanks for reminding me.
We're up to $140 again, and that means we're about due. So we hope you get your postcards in. Regular size postcards only. Include your name, your full address, the number from 1 to 10, the number of pins you think will drop on the bonus ball thrown by our winning bowler at the end of the show. Mail those in to Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087, and good luck. $140 at the end of today's show. On the line, Tom Morgan with the lead and with another 9 drop.
Well, he moved that 4 pin off the spot. In fact, it was going to fall, and another second piece of wood came across and stood it back up.
Another 9 drop spare for Tom Morgan. He's had 4 of them today. 4 of his 6 marks have been on 9 drops. This time off the head pin. Not quite.
Well, hold on. If that rolls back, it's got enough speed.
Tom's trying to help it. Nope, had to be in the middle. Had to be on the red line. So it'll be a $10. You'll probably hear Tom's brother Mike in the background cheering him on. Jim Grigaitis, that high triple, 466. He threw a 439 here in his first appearance with us last week.
Just missing a strike by way of the back door.
That's the first 9 drop of the day for Jim Grigaitis, and he converts. Still no strikes today, 6 spares for each bowler. Eight this time. The 1 and the 7 with favorable wood.
As long as he catches the head pin, that wood should take care of the 7.
Oh, yeah.
2 in a row. The lead now just 5 pins for Tom Morgan, but Jim also has a chance to fill that spare, so match is real close.
Right through the heart. Kicks out the 4 pin, avoiding the spread eagle.
Three, 6, 10 on the right. 2, 7 on the left. Ooh, just missed the 3 pin and got a little wiggle out of 2 of those 3 pins, but no spare.
So it'll go as a 9. Tom will have to wait for a re-rack on lane 31. Tom Morgan's roll-off score is 687. Just 2 pins behind Don Richmond and only 5 pins behind George McAllister, our number 1 seed.
Right, Right through the middle. Similar shot. 3-6-10 on the left, but just a 2-pin now on the left and 3-6-10 on the right.
Made it interesting.
And you have 2 open frames for Jim Grigaitis to work on. Already working on a spare.
Chance for Jim to take the lead. Once again. And not quite.
3 and 5 left.
Actually, that is enough. Beg your pardon. He does have the lead again. And he has another mark, his 3rd in a row, to open this second game. Jim Grigaitis had a run of 6 marks in a row in the first game last week. Here he misses the head pin, and that wood will roll away. So he's going to have to make this one clean. For 4 in a row? Nope.
And just an 8.
And that brings us to a break, almost to the halfway mark, and Jim Grigaitis has retaken the lead here at Park Place Lanes. We'll be back in a minute.
Here are the winning numbers from last night's Tri-State Megabucks drawing.
Tom Morgan ready to go, trailing by 9 in the match. Just about halfway through. Boy, that's 3 times in a row that Tom has nearly had a spread eagle.
He's on the head pin now. He wasn't hitting the first game. Now he can't seem to get off it.
Nice try.
That's where you want to move left or right on the approach, or maybe a half a step forward, half a step back, just to change the angle of the ball coming in on the head pin.
Tom Morgan has made 3 appearances in the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions, including last year. Big ball there. He'll carry the strike. First strike of the day for either bowler. Tom had a lot of 9 drops.
And needs a little help on the 5, but finally happens for him. One and 9, 1 pin and a 9 pin with all kinds of help in between.
Oh, wow. Somehow that head pin just chopped right over and to the right, it appeared, of the 9 pin.
And he still cleared all the wood out of the way and never touched the 9 pin.
Let's see how it happened.
Take a look at that. That's amazing.
Wow. Oh, and the 1-8-9 this time.
Now with that strike up, Tom may have a chance to regain the lead.
Nice try. Nice try. Nice try.
For those of you who might have tuned in or might have missed last week's show, we had a late programming change here on the Winds of New England, and today's show, as you already know by now, airing at its regular time. So if you were looking for us earlier this morning, we apologize for any inconvenience, but glad you checked in again at our regular airtime.
3-7-10. If he's on the 3, he's got a chance at this.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
very nicely done. That's spare on strike. Match dead even right now.
Now, Tom, now the hammer.
8 marks apiece to this point. So I guess that's part of the reason why it's dead even. Well, let's see. The wood right there isn't too bad.
The only problem with it is the ball is going to fly. The ball's going to take off on him, so he could have trouble with the 7 or the 10 or both.
Oh, got it.
It's no problem.
What are you talking about, Dan? Come on.
Actually, the ball started to fly, but it took out the 7-pin before it left. 3 in a row for Tom Morgan. Strike and 2 spares.
Jim Grigaitis had 3 in a row to start this game, but he's had 3 open boxes since then.
He'll shoot at the 4 horsemen left plus the 9. Well, Tom Morgan regains the lead now.
As we move back and forth during this match here on Stars and Strikes, it's been a good one. Tied in this game now, as you see, but Tom had 7 pins coming into this game, and he's got a mark up in the 8th already. Jim goes to work on lane 31, and oh my. The 5 and the 6, but the wood may make it possible.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's a good thing the wood is there, the 5 and 6. Gotta catch the wood in the 6-pin.
Like that.
Matches the spare put up by Tom Morgan in the 8th. Final 2 frames of the 2nd game. Tom will fill his spare first.
Yeah, it'll be 7.
Wants that 2nd piece, the one closest to him, to move to the left so he can have a clear shot at the other piece. It looks like it could carry the triangle, although it is kind of deep.
He'll try it. Oh, he played it right on the 6-pin and carried it for the spare. Taking no chances with the wood there.
Here you see 116 plus the bonus ball in the 9th.
4 marks in a row for Tom. He had only 53 at the halfway point in this game, but he's got a pretty good game working right now.
.23 through 9. 22, I should say.
No, boy, on the 7-pin. So after a 53 top half, Tom Morgan recovers for a 132 and a 2-game total of 258. Jim Grigaitis. Big fill here, and there's his first strike of the day.
And he comes right back at Tom Morgan. Cuts the lead to 10. Here's the replay of that strike. The 1-2 pocket, 5. And then 8 pins. 5 and 9, I should say. Trying to make it 2 strikes in a row.
Look out on the 7-pin. Almost. If he gets this, Jim Grigaitis could take the lead in the match. He's got it for the spare.
139.
The match is dead tied right now, so whatever Jim puts on this spare will be his lead going into the 3rd game. Back and forth we go. Oh, it's a big one. 9 drop, 148, and a 2-game total, 267. So Jim Grigaitis has a 9-pin lead, looking for his 2nd win in a row. 1 game to go here at Park Place Lanes. We'll be back in a minute. Here are the 5 guys who've already qualified for our 8th annual Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Bob Kelly, our #1 seed right now, will be making his first appearance in the Tournament of Champions. That's somewhat hard to believe. Joe Ashline will be making his 4th overall appearance. Tim Lipke will be back for a 2nd time. Rich Clark will be making his first appearance, and Dan Broder will be back for his second try in the Tournament of Champions. And 2 weeks from today, we'll know who the 6th qualifier is on that list. Jim Grigaitis leading today's match by 9 going into the 3rd game. And there's a strike.
Well, that's one way to protect a 9-pin lead, is to throw strikes. And this was a quick one in the 1-3, tripping the 4-pin. So he's got his game face back on again.
A little heavy that time, but he may get a break. Well, he gets a break on the 7, but now he's left with the 4 and the 6. There are some pins down there, though, that might be able to help him out.
I almost want to go to the right of that 4-pin and kick the wood. That's what he does. He's going way over.
Oh, that was an unusual shot. Took care of the piece of wood in the channel, which was leaning against the wall. No, maybe it wasn't there anyway.
Look at him, Tommy.
We'll never know.
Now the hammer, Tom.
But he puts up at least 1 mark. Strike in the 1st.
Good first ball for Tom Morgan. The 5 and the 9. Yes. That's 11 marks for Tom Morgan. Jim Grigaitis has 12. And looking for a break. Carries 7.
2, 4, and 6. Piece of wood in between the 2 and the 6.
No. But the good news there for Tom is that he got the mark to keep the lead in single digits. In fact, he gained a pin. It's now 8. Jim with an 8-pin lead with 8 boxes to go.
Three, 6, 4, 7. And let's see where the wood settles down. That's, could split the 3-6 or possibly play it on the left hand inside the 3-pin. That's what he's trying, right around the 6.
Goes as a 10 box. On the head pin, the 2 and the 5. For the spare.
Well, he was able to put at least 1 mark up in both of the first 4 boxes of this 3rd game. Tom Morgan has to try to do the same, or put 2 up, gain any. Hey, he drops 9.
Double piece of wood in front.
And it's rolling way out in front as well.
And the spare.
Tommy kind of glanced at his brother in the audience. He wasn't too sure hitting that wood whether or not it was just going to curve around that 8-pin.
Not the fill he was looking for, just 6. But the wood turned a little bit for him. Still moving. See if he can convert this one. Oh, yes. Fine shot, and that takes us to a timeout. This match is just about dead even. A 2-pin lead for Jim Grigaitis with 6 boxes to go. Both bowlers with marks up when we come back in a minute. Jim Grigaitis will work on his spare first.
The lead is just 2 pins.
Come on, man.
7 is the fill.
3, 2, 2, 5, and 7.
No.
In between, low left or right, the ball or the 2-pin would have carried the 7 and the other carry the 5. But he'll be open. Good 10.
And taking an extra pin or two, leaves the 5 and the 8.
I was really glad to see the 7-pin go down. And he's got the 5 and 8 piece of wood right there, though, in front of the 8. Got room to get by.
Oh.
He didn't intend to throw it there. He pulled it left. So he'll be open both frames this time. Continues to pin well.
Yep. Well, if Tom Morgan throws a 9 on this spare, the match will be dead even. Tom taking a check on the scoreboard. Just 4. Takes the 9. The lead is 6 for Jim Grigaitis. Last week, Jim got off to a big early lead with that 168. Was challenged somewhat in the 3rd game by Rich Hallberg, but never got really under fire. This match, he's going to have to win late as Tom Morgan leaves another single pin. And there's the spare right on it. Mark number 14 for Tom Morgan. As you see, Jim has 13.
Oh,
no luck there.
No, not at all. 4, 7, 10.
Does have wood on the plate, though. That's the good news. Nope. Jim has to wait for the wood to die down. Someone in the crowd, you might have heard, said, "Got to have one here. Every pin crucial in a match like this."
Absolutely. You want to get your 9s and 10s, not leave too many pins standing, give your opponent the opportunity to gain without the benefit of a mark. And he's gone 3 frames in a row now without one.
Look out, pull that one to the left. Not an easy shot here. The 1, 3, 5, 6, and 8 with no wood. And that's why you hit it perfectly and nothing touches the 5 or the 8. So 2 open frames for Jim Grigaitis and an open door for Tom Morgan, who can take the lead with this fill. If he gets 7 or better, he'll have the lead in the match again. There it is.
Just catches the head pin. Good mixing action from right to left. Leaves himself just a 2 and a 7. Couple pieces of wood. 2 in a row. Gives him the lead by 3 plus this ball.
We have seesawed back and forth throughout this entire match. Neither bowler's been able to get a real big lead. It's been in single digits most of the way. Oh, big ball! And you see Tom's reaction. He knew that was an important ball. And that pushes the lead into double figures.
That was huge, to say the least. That gives him a 13-pin advantage, but he still has the benefit of that strike working for him. Jim is going to have to throw a double mark.
No. And Jim gets 8, make it 9. But he needs something big to happen here in the 10th.
Yeah, he's got to think strikes.
Well, he has a chance to at least start off with a spare. No. So he goes open the last 6 boxes. Meanwhile, Tom Morgan has 3 marks in a row, and he's working on a strike. And it's all but a formality now. Jim Grigaitis, a 111 and a 378.
Tom already at 362, plus the fill on the strike and 2 frames.
And that will do it. Tom Morgan is our winner. All the great action here on Stars and Strikes brought to you by our friends at Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. Come to Salem and save, Route 97, Salem, New Hampshire. And almost for Tom, but he'll take the 9 fill, and that's more than enough to give him the victory. So he can bowl this 10th frame, secure in the knowledge that he will be back next week to face our number 2 seed, Don Richmond, in the semifinals.
It's at 391 right now.
And a spare in the 10th. Now 401 plus a ball. Another example why it's so tough to come up from that number 4 or 5 spot and win 4 matches in a row. Well, just 3 is the fill, but Tom says that's perfectly okay with me. A 146 and a 404. Tom Morgan knocks off Jim Grigaitis. We'll be back to talk to both bowlers and have our bonus ball contest when we come back in a minute. Back we are at Park Place Lanes. Doug Brown and Dan Murphy and Tom Morgan, the veteran. We talked about the fact that he has all that experience at the top of the hour, and he showed it at the end with 4 marks in the last 5 boxes to come from behind.
Yeah, both bowlers had trouble that first game with not hitting the head pin. They both seemed to find it in the second game, and then Jim had a tough time going out in the last several boxes without any marks, and you can't leave the opening for Tom Morgan.
All right, let's chat with both bowlers and see if we can't get a winner also in our bonus ball contest. First, Jim Grigaitis. A round of applause for him after an outstanding 439 last week. 4th place prize money, Jim, is $175, so that's for you. And your prediction turned out to be right on target. You said you need another 400, and that's what it would have taken.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I started making a comeback in that second string, and I just couldn't follow it up in the 3rd game, and Tom come right out, and, you know, he's a veteran. He knows how to put it away when he gets a chance, and he did it.
He made a couple of big shots there coming down the stretch.
Yeah, he did, and I had a couple opportunities. They just didn't fall for me, so.
Well, we appreciate your coming up to visit us all the way from Brockton. Give our best to everybody in the Brockton area,
Right,
and we appreciate you joining us. Hope to see you again next year.
All right, thanks again.
That's Jim Grigaitis. And now that leaves us with a bonus ball contest of $140, and Tom Morgan will try to get us a match here on lane 31. If there is a match, of course, the home viewer gets the cash and a set of brand new bowling balls from Bob Perella and Paramount Industries, and the bowler would get a new set of bowling balls too. We have an 8 drop. Let's see if that's good enough for a win. 8 is the magic number, and it is not a match. Oh, Hilda Briggs from Salem, Massachusetts guessed 5. So obviously she knew Tom was going to be up, but It just didn't work out for you, Hilda. We apologize, but you'll be receiving a consolation gift. Slide right on in here, Tom. I got to say that I think it seemed to me, at least, that in the 8th box of that third game, after you had thrown the back-to-back spares, you knew that was a critical ball, and it seemed like you took a little extra time and you got a big strike.
Absolutely, it was a big ball. I think I just went up by 2 pins. 2 pins is nothing with 2 boxes to go. I took my time, said hit the head pin, anything can happen. Hit the head pin, got my strike, and now I was in good shape.
But and of course, you always have your brother here working for you, too, which helps.
Well, I have the money. You got to talk a little bit. I mean, you got to earn his keep here, you know what I mean? He told me at the beginning I was really rushing and overthrowing everything. He said, Tom, slow down, and that helped me a little bit. Sometimes you can't pick up on things yourself, but if someone knows you can pick up. And once I started slowing down, the ball started working a little better.
Well, next week, semifinals, Don Richmond will be here.
Don's a great bowler. It's going to be a tough match. I respect Don as a bowler and a person. He's a good guy. Should be fun.
We'll see you then.
Absolutely.
All right, Tom. Congratulations with the 404. And here we go to our top 3 bowlers as we take another peek at the ladder. Tom Morgan will move on to face our number 2 seed, Don Richmond, next week. The winner of that one will face George McAllister for that final spot in the Tournament of Champions.
There's no easy spots left. It's going to take probably another 400 all the way out to win the match and, of course, get into the Tournament of Champions.
All right, that'll do it for another weekend of Candlepin Bowling here on Stars and Strikes. So don't forget to join us next weekend, Saturday at noon from the Londonderry Bowling Center, as always, for Candlepin Skins. And then next Sunday at 12 noon back here at Park Place as Tom Morgan will face Don Richmond. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for being with us.